In this video, I just want to talk through a current dilemma that I am experiencing. And that dilemma is that I had a divine sign, which a pastor told me God was talking to me, so I take it seriously. But I'm also torn between what I should do next, because I'm not sure. And I want to record a quick video here just to talk through it, to help clarify my own thought processes, and maybe if anyone watches you can give me some insight and feedback from your perspective too. So here's what I want to do with Kingdom Impact Lab. So the goal for Kingdom Impact Lab is to use my gifts, which are my gifts and passion for studying and learning and seeking the truth, in order to become a better teacher, to impart the things that I learn to others in a practical way, which then transforms my learning and studying and scholarly, however you pronounce the word, pursuits, from a selfish task to develop my own understanding to a selfless task, where I can impart wisdom like King Solomon did, to help other people. It's to use my skills, which are of pattern recognition and discernment and different things, to help others and to help others realign with what they're doing. It's also to pursue my own research interests, which I want to, that's what the lab part of Kingdom Impact Lab is about. But I want to pursue research, I want to develop my own area of study and develop my own frameworks and systems and test them out and try them and develop them into frameworks that work, for the benefit of other people. And I want to use what at the time was, I thought, through a atheistic, materialistic lens, was probably the worst, one of the worst parts of my life, into something that I can use to have the biggest impact and transform my suffering into something that I can use to help other people who may currently be experiencing that same problem. And that specific problem situation is that I spent so much time, so many years pursuing a financial target as a freelancer and in my business, and one day I achieved it. I quickly got some kind of financial security, and I found myself in a position where I didn't have to worry about making money anymore. And after achieving that financial security, I then tried to pursue bigger financial goals, but that turned into a disaster because I just descended downwards. Instead of me pursuing bigger, better goals, instead of me feeling energized in the process of getting to the bigger, better goals, it was the opposite. It was going downhill. On a month-to-month basis, my situation just got worse and worse and worse and more miserable. I got stressed out. I had a deep level of underlying stress within me, which I then took out on my wife and one child at a time, without realising it, which I regret a lot now. There was a disillusionment in the way that I felt, that there was a disconnect between who I am here and what I was pursuing. I just could not get anything to work in the business, despite me knowing deep down that what I'm doing is the right thing in terms of a business thing. Things just wouldn't work. burned out, just awful. It was. So what I came up with, the solution I came up with was, I want to inject some kind of transformation to try to have some kind of impact in the relationships with clients that I've got. Well, the way I got clients was talking on, look at this return on investment I can get you. If you pay me this amount, I'm going to make you this much back within this time frame. Well, naturally they treat me in the way that I attracted them. That the entire relationship is set up based on money on a transaction. Therefore, they're going to treat me through that lens. And so I thought I could inject some kind of transformation into this here and have an impact. So I've always went the extra mile with clients. One particular client, he was spinning in circles a lot. I tried to help him because I genuinely cared. He once had an email from a troll where he forwarded me the email, and it was a short email, maybe 50 words, 100 words maybe, and I would probably say that 30% of the words in that email were swear words and curse words towards him. So if you take out all of the small words like the prepositions and the grammatical structure to it, but more than 50% of the words were swear words and curse words towards him, which naturally is not nice to hear, especially when at the time he just had a baby. So I spent 10 minutes sending him a voice note to Mentor and Fruit and to give him a different perspective on it, and because I knew he was feeling demotivated because he said he's thinking of packing it all in and this and that, it's not worth it. So I tried to mentor him and tried to help him through. Well, not long after that, we reached a bit of an impasse in what we were doing because my initial outline of what I wanted to do for him no longer applied. I had a 90-day system, email marketing system to get book calls and all these things. And well, he pivoted so many times because he kept changing direction, he kept changing what he wanted to do. He was spinning so many plates. He enjoyed being busy for the sake of busyness. And I told him that, look, we've got an outstanding balance here. I don't think you need what I'm offering anymore. I don't want to continue, despite I'd literally be able to finish what I promised him in 90 minutes, 2 hours tops, to justify his outstanding fee. But I said it's not the right thing to do because I don't think you're going to use it and you're not going to implement it, kind of thing. And I said that with the outstanding balance, I think a fair thing to do would be pay me 50% of the time and what I've invested into this, and then we'll call it a day. And his response was complete and utter shock because he's saying, why would I pay you anything of the outstanding balance if you haven't given me the deliverables that I asked for? Translation: that meant that I promised to deliver you X, Y, and Z. I've only delivered you X and Y. I have not given you Z. In order for me to get the fee that's outstanding, I need to give you Z, even though you're not going to use it, and it's a waste of my time and it's not the right thing to do. And so I said, well, this project has already gone on 2 months longer than we expected. I've gone the extra mile for you so many times. This is what I've done. All of these extra things, taking the time to inject this transformation to actually help you and coach you and mentor you and guide you throughout the process, which took time and resources from me. Whenever you have a question, I'm happy to answer it, and I allocate a lot of thought to developing the idea with you, having calls with you to develop ideas, which I'm not charging you for. Just going the extra mile all the time. Oh, well, that's nice, Sam, but I'm paying you to do X, Y, and Z. You haven't delivered Z. And well, that became the bombshell moment for me, that it was not possible for me to inject transformation and meaning into a pre-existing relationship which is entirely on transaction. I liked the guy. He was a really nice guy. I enjoyed talking to him. I liked who he was as a person, but the entire business relationship was based on making money. And then his perspective was always that all of the extra things I did was, hey, that's nice, but I'm paying you to do this and you haven't done it, so you absolutely don't justify any of the fee that's outstanding. And that was kind of a moment for me which, I realised that things were wrong, and chasing the next financial target absolutely is not the way to do it. Chasing the first financial target to achieve financial security, yes, you've got to. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You have to have food and shelter before you can focus on other things. You have to eliminate the worry and stress and pressures of making money before you can focus on more important things like meaning and purpose. But of course the problem is that from a business perspective, from my business perspective, everything that I'm doing in my marketing is focused on return on investment, transactions, cost per hour, percentage revenue increases, percentage profit margins, number of book calls, percentage book calls to sales ratio, lifetime value, average order value, all of these transactional things. And then I reach a point when I achieve my financial goal, and then I'm trying to inject meaning and purpose into it, but it just does not compute. It's inconsistent, which is one of the reasons why things went downhill for me fast. Because I was trying to set myself the next goal based on finance, but it didn't motivate me. I lost interest, I lost passion. Things deteriorated quickly, relationships deteriorated quickly. It was just generally a bad thing. And that kind of led to me going through a horrible experience because of, like I mentioned earlier, the things that I did as a result of my underlying stress towards my wife, who was pregnant at the time with our second son, my son, all other things as well. It's just a bad thing. No motivation, no passion. Felt like the people I spoke to and interacted with did not value me as a human, and just generally it was horrible. And then one day I decided enough is enough, and I just shut the business, shut the marketing agency, and then I took time off. This was I became a Christian and studied the Bible and studied things, and I actually figured out an answer and a solution to it. And the solution is that you have to anchor your goals, your highest order goal, in God. And the reason is because doing so, you anchor in solid foundation, which is timeless, eternal and perfect. And you are, by acting in a Christ-like way of excellence, extravagant love, integrity, humble service, radical generosity, in your day-to-day decisions, you are intrinsically have a meaningful pursuit of, you're making meaningful progression towards your infinite goal. You have joy, fulfillment, which is what worked for me, which is why my calling and purpose is to help Christian entrepreneurs who may feel a similar disconnect, where they no longer feel excited at chasing the next revenue goal. They may, motivation drops, they start to question what they're doing, they feel the burnout, the stress, the disillusionment. Because I've been through it and I found a solution. And I had what I would consider to be a divine sign that this is my target audience, because a couple of weeks back I was listening to the Bible before I fell asleep, and I just chose a book at random. Essentially, it was a book of Samuel, and I listened to it a couple of nights while I was falling asleep, And one night I woke up at 2 a.m, couldn't sleep, couldn't get back to sleep, tried, couldn't sleep. You know, it's that hyper-intentionality concept of you focusing on sleep so much becomes more elusive. And so I decided just to play something on the phone to listen to focus on, so I drift off to sleep. And so the Bible, the book of Samuel finished when I fell asleep, and so the next one that came up was the second book of Samuel, so I clicked that and just listened to it and started to doze off, and before long, because I'm listening to it and whatnot, I start to fall asleep. So the next day we decide to go to the library, which again is highly unusual, and I decided at the library I wanted to do some worksheets that a coach had given me when I worked with him a year, 18 months ago, and I downloaded all the worksheets and I went through and did it on ChatGPT and, you know, gone to the library. And the very last question was to describe your avatar. And so I got ChatGPT to do it for me, and then he said, assign a name. Okay, and the name was Jonathan. My ideal target audience was Jonathan. And so I thought, hang on, that name's familiar. Something in my subconscious is saying to me, Jonathan. Why does that resonate with me this moment of time? So I asked ChatGPT, why did you choose that name? Why Jonathan? Is it random? And ChatGPT said, no, it's because the character in the second book of Samuel, chapter 1, verse 26, best describes what your avatar is. And I kind of stopped and realised, well, the reason I remember Jonathan is because I woke up at 2 a.m, decided, which was highly uncharacteristic of me, to then listen to the Bible at 2 a.m. And it just so happened to be the second book of Samuel, chapter 1, verse 26. Well, I was still awake, focusing on chapter 1 and possibly chapter 2 before I fell asleep. That's what it reminded me. And so, of all the names to choose, of all of the parts of the Bible, it was Jonathan. And so I asked the pastor who was helping me with the project what he thought, and he said that it's a divine sign. And so I have to take that seriously. Now, a couple of weeks later, I'm either going through a moment of discernment and clarity, or I'm just reverting back to the story of my life, which is I keep moving from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. And that is with the next part of what I'm trying to do or thinking of doing. And so one of the purposes of Kingdom Impact Lab is I want to work with Christian entrepreneurs who have high ticket offers with high profit margins, so I can charge high fees to sell my own high ticket offers too. And that's where my experience is with selling high ticket offers. I sold my own high ticket offer for several years, and specifically I was helping clients sell their high ticket offers for years. That's what I did as a freelancer, and that's what I did in my business. So that's the kind of people where my experience and everything lies, and I can help. But I want to build my business on high profit margins, so that I can then reinvest the profit into my membership. And the purpose of a membership is that if Kingdom Impact Lab and what I want to do is to help people become Christ-like in business and in the workforce, because that's where my experience is, that's the transformation I had to suffer through and come out the other end, and that's what the framework that I developed for myself is based on, helping businesses, business owners get meaning and purpose in what you do in your work by acting in a way that's Christ-like in what you do, and anchoring your business and vision in what it means to be Christ-like on biblical principles. So you do things for the benefit of others rather than for yourself. Well, I want to expand that out into all areas of life, which would be business, work, finances, maybe it's one category, marriage, parenting, relationships, health and fitness, different areas of life. And I want to teach and show people how to become Christ-like in these different areas of what you do. The reason is because that's what I'm doing, proactively doing in my own life. It's because you need to proactively become Christ-like in all areas of your life to resist the transactional pulls of the secular workforce and secular marketplace and secular transactional environment that we live in. You have to proactively fight against it. Otherwise, if you're just reacting, it will influence you. It's always the journey I'm on. It's also when in a previous video we talked about surveys show that most Christians leave God behind on Monday mornings, with one of the primary reasons is there's a lack of community and a lack of support that they can get. And well, I want to build my membership as a way to provide that community and provide that support and to build that sort of relational aspect of it. I have a vision in my head of what I want it to look like, and it will be $10 a month around that price point, so it's accessible to as many people as possible. And the way I do it is because I've got experience in continuity-based offers and things, so I have an idea of what $10 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month, $500 a month, even up to $10,000 per year memberships kind of look like. So I know what's involved at each level, and I want to have a $10 a month membership which provides $100 a month value at the very least, kind of thing. And I can see how beneficial it would be to so many people internationally in how it can help people. And I want to use the coaching consulting side of Kingdom Impact Lab in order to then use the profit margins that I've made from this side to invest into the membership, so I can build the membership as a way of so in the Invasive Kingdom by Pastor Philip Lynn, he's talking about bivocational ministers, and Pastor Philip Lynn was he was a doctor and a pastor, two different things, and so for me, if I were to look at it through that lens, it's kind of like the coaching, consulting, business side of Kingdom Impact Lab will be one side, and then the membership of what I do over here, which I'd subsidise from the revenue I'd make here, until it became a self-supporting financially. The goal of a membership would not be to make profit and to make the money. The goal of a membership would be for it to be self-sustaining, and all the revenue I could make, I would reinvest back into it to provide more value, kind of thing. That would be my way of pastoring, kind of thing, with what it would do and how it would actually help people. The dilemma is, of course, that if this membership here is what the ultimate goal is, kind of thing, where I'm not building it for profit margins to make money directly, I would not, in other words, I would not be drawing a salary from the membership. The membership, I would reinvest as much of the money back into the membership to make it bigger and better and whatnot. Obviously you'd want to have cash reserves and build up some cash reserves, but it would be there for Kingdom Impact. The dilemma I'm faced with now is, do I focus on the coaching and consulting side, which is where I've had the divine sign to pursue, or do I simultaneously focus on coaching and consulting while building this membership at the same time? In which case it would change the way that I would do things, and that's the current dilemma where I'm at, and I'm not sure what to do, or how to do it, because in a perfect world I'd do both, but the problem is that I've had no revenue for most of this year. So 10 months we've had no revenue. We were living on savings, we're having to sell our assets that we've accumulated, sell our investments in order to pay for our month to month, and also we're going to be selling our investments to invest in business. So there's a financial aspect of it as well, of which one to pursue. And then the second one as well, which is the bigger deterrent for me, is time constraints, because we've got a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old baby, and we're homeschooling as well, and I can't spend, the only time I really have to work on the business is a couple of hours in the morning before my son comes up and bangs on the door. So it's the time constraints of doing it as well, while trying to build the business from the bottom up, and that's where I'm at. I'm not sure what to do. So I've just talked it out. If anyone's actually watching this or hears any of this, great. I'd love to hear your feedback, insights, what you think. If no one is watching it, that's all right too. Doesn't matter. I've just talked it out, which has given me more clarity in my own mind. So that's all. Thanks for watching. See you next time.